ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this episode of Who Can You Trust? This is actually a breaking news episode about the actions that have been taking place in the case of the child kidnapping, stemming from the father kidnapping that led to the mother being kidnapped, and now we're trying to get the child back. So stay tuned and let me tell you about what's going on here in Eureka, California. Now, for those of you that have been following the story, you know this character. This is Judge William Q. Hayes. Now, I talked to Judge Hayes. I called him and I told him about what was going on. And someone in Hayes' office told me to file something. The judge said file something so he can do something about it. Well, last part of March, first part of April, we did file something. We filed this. It's an action for habeas corpus to force the California Superior Court to release the baby, Melody, and to look into the injuries that she sustained while in the hands of California Department of Human Services. So I followed the judge's advice and everything. And as you know, if you've been following this case, that the only thing that I was arguing is that we are Chicago citizens. We are not citizens of California, and we were just passing through when all this happened. These phony arrests, was there nothing they could say about that because of the outcome of the arrest. I was cut loose without even so much as going into a courtroom once they dragged me back across the country. I get back here and they got my wife and my child both in state custody here in California. So I do what this judge is, and I enter one issue in the court, in the federal court here in California, and that one issue is the one you're looking at, and that issue was it legal for the court to appoint a guardian to represent Miss Love Anderson after Miss Anderson was diagnosed as competent and sane by the state hospital officials at the medical facility Semper Virens on the same matter, and thereby disenfranchise Mrs. Anderson of the right to defend herself. As a consequence of this action, it prevents Mrs. Anderson from representing her daughter as the child's natural guardian. So, put this in, and about 10 days later we get this. This is a order from the court, from this guy. Yeah. And this is what he does. He decides, after everything, that he's not going to rule on the case. He instead decides that he is going to dismiss the case on the same day that he picks it up. He does a Pontius Pilate and washes his hands. of the matter, because the whole thing is crooked and he knows it. Now, I used to like this young fella because when he first looked at that case, the first thing he said was, oh, they're hiding an unreported mistrial, a trial that never happened. And they put it down on the record like they had them a big conviction and everything else, and come to find out they had absolutely nothing. Now, the case, as you know, if you've been watching, is before this creature. This creature's name is Joyce D. Heinrich, and she's a Superior Court judge here in Humboldt County. And the case of Melody Anderson is before her. Now, this is the same creature that disappeared last month because of that very issue. She had absolutely no authority whatsoever to order a guardian for either the mother or the baby, the child, because the mother is the child's natural guardian. See, this is outside of her professional expertise. In other words, she's not a doctor. She can't decide whether or not, she's a judge. She can't decide whether or not a person is mentally stable or not. That's the reason they send you to a psychiatrist, to these doctors, to be diagnosed as to what's going on. So when she ordered that a guardian for the child and for the mother, she effectively disenfranchised my wife. She took my wife's authority over the baby away from her. And she had no authority over my wife in the first place, because my wife is a Chicago resident, an Illinois citizen, and we're only visiting in California. Now we can't get out of California. And it seems like this, what they say, come on vacation, leave on probation. Come for a stroll, leave on parole. Yeah, you can't get out of this place. They're holding a child. They won't let us go. And they want to insist that we give them an address, that we rent a place here in California. Now, we've done that, and we paid we had at the hotels, just vacation rental, and we paid the $500 a week, but we're trying to do what we told our audience we were going to do in the cards. We're trying to go on with our show and our business and our lives, but obviously Mrs. Heinrich doesn't have that, So at this point, this judge has recused herself once from the case, and now, after things start to get popping, in other words, the judge in San Diego, Hayes, the one you had just seen, when he got that case in front of him, he called and told Heinrich that you better straighten your hand. And you know what happened? Next time I looked up, Joyce D. Heinrich, the same one, who took herself off the case, was back on the case. And now, after I had been declared the natural father of the child by the substitute judge, his name was Finley. Now this creature is back, and she wants to take the child away from me and put my kid up for adoption. I don't know what planet this thing was born on, but she better go back there, because you don't put up with that type of shenanigans here in this country from anybody. So I think she's thinking with a very, very regimented mentality that being a lower court juvenile judge gives her the authority to wield power over the heads of the citizens of this country. Yeah. And not only is she trying to wield power over the citizens of California, she's now trying to wield power over the citizens of Chicago, Illinois. She's made a ruling that the baby whose father and mother are Chicago residents can't leave the state of California. Where does this thing get off? So, we have another episode after this, and then we'll present you with some more facts. Now, I'm like everybody else. I take the common sense role. What's going on here is it's about money. It's about the injury that they to the child, because the injury that they did to the child, they can't get around the fact, that the child is in worse condition than she was when she went in their hands. Okay, and it's about. Then it started out about money because they went through my wife's belongings and they found out that she had money, and they were trying to get a piece of that. So stay tuned for further episodes of Who Can You Trust? This is Ben Anderson, and enjoy the rest of the show.